Now there was a time not that long ago that, if I'm honest, I thought of Lightroom as being somewhere that I just imported, organised and printed my images. But that has now changed big time. Lightroom has become a very powerful editing tool and continues to do so, especially with much of the desktop version being in the mobile versions. So in this video I want to show you how very quickly we can take a flat image and with just a few simple adjustments using some very powerful but easy to use controls completely bring it to life. Now here's a photograph that I took in the north of England in Yorkshire next to 𝗷𝗶𝗶 Viaduct. An incredible location on what was actually a bright sunny day despite the clouds. However, the picture at the moment doesn't really show that, so I want to edit this to make it more like it was when I was actually there. I'll start by bringing up the colour because at the moment it looks very flat. If I use the saturation slider, that will bring up all of the colours, but in doing so will also affect the skin tone, which we do not want to happen. So instead I'll use the vibrance slider. I can drag this far over to the right and we can see the colours have now really come to life, but the skin tones still look good. I'll add a little bit of overall contrast and a touch of clarity. Now on the day there was a beautiful blue in the sky, but again that's not showing up here, so I want to enhance that. I could go to the HSL section and then saturation. Click on the target adjustment tool and place that onto a section of the sky and drag upwards. This adds saturation to the blue, but the problem here is that it's also affecting other areas of the picture where the original tone appears. So that's not the way to do it. Instead, I'll use a mask. So I'll click to add a mask and choose Select Sky. Lightroom does a great job selecting the sky, which we can see from this red overlay. However, there are some areas that it's also included, like the biker. So I'll choose Subtract and then select Subject. There's also some red overlay on the distant hills, so again I'll choose Subtract and this time choose a brush and brush those areas away so they're no longer selected. To now increase the blue in the sky, I might think of using the white balance, but that adds blue onto the clouds, so it doesn't look realistic at all. Instead, the best way to do this is to use something called Intersect. I'll hold down the Option key on Mac or Alt key on Windows to make the Intersect button appear within the masking section. Then I'll choose a second mask. I'll go for Colour Range and then click on an area of sky, and we can see the colour that's selected just here. Then with the overlay visible, I'll use the Refine slider to fine-tune the colour being selected by dragging to the left. Now we see the overlay is only in the areas of the sky, so I can then maybe use the white balance to boost the colour a bit. With that done, let's come out of masking and then go to the HSL section. In here I want to now brighten the ground because the sun was shining through. I can do that by using the luminance section and then dragging the green and the yellow sliders to the right. If I turn this now off and on, you can see how that has affected the ground. Finally, let's add the finishing touches using colour grading. I'll cool the shadows down and add a little bit of extra contrast by dragging the luminance to the left. I'll use the midtones to warm the skin tones up. And then I'll go to the highlights and warm them up too. Now I don't want the bright areas of the clouds to be affected by this warm colour, so I'll use the luminance slider to brighten the highlight areas, which then takes colour out of those areas. I'll then use the blending slider to subtly blend the colours of the shadows, midtones and highlights, And then I'll use the balance slider to tip the colour of the image more towards the highlights to warm the image up. I'll also use the global colour wheel to add one final bit of warmth. Just a little bit, so I'll keep the saturation quite low. So there you go, before and after. Now this to me looks much more like it did on the day I was there, and you can really see the difference in what we've done by having the before and after side by side. So let's create a virtual copy and then reset this version so the edits are no longer there. Now I'll click on both and press C to put them side by side in compare mode. So there you go. Big difference in a very short space of time. I just think it's amazing that what used to take quite a few layers in Photoshop can now be done with just a few adjustments. And this is only going to keep on getting better and better. Now, one of the panels that you saw me using there in Lightroom was the color grading panel. This is such a powerful part of Lightroom and Camera Raw, but is often overlooked. So I'm going to end this video with another video showing you something that I've got over on my website that goes into how we use the color grading panel in a lot more detail. So I'll leave that with you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Hi, I'm 𝗚𝗲 and this is my colour grading, the essential finishing touch mini course. In this course, I'm going to take you through everything that you need to know to get the very best out of the fantastic colour grading panel in Lightroom Classic, Lightroom CC, Lightroom Mobile and Camera Raw. We'll cover what colour grading is and then dive into the colour grading panel explaining what everything does and how to use it correctly to add mood, atmosphere, a look and ultimately a style to your images, and all without the need for buying any extra software or plugins. Now I use colour grading on every single image that I edit, be it from my main camera, my smartphone or my drone. Portraits, landscapes, seascapes, still life, colour grading is the essential finishing touch. In this colour grading course, you'll not only fully understand the process and how to use it, but also how to get the very best out of it so that you can go on and create your own unique style. I'll see you in class.